Good afternoon and welcome back to another session with Andrew Tucker TV channel, the Andrew Tucker TV channel. Welcome back. And previously I had presented a video which went viral on the UK High Commissioner suggesting that the visa restrictions might be removed from Jamaicans. Now that Andrew Holness has won his third term in office, is that possible? Because that was like one of his babies in terms of working aggressively to ensure that the UK removes visa restriction from Jamaicans from traveling to Great Britain. Now, the fact of the matter is that it is going to be beneficial for both countries. So when you see these talking about it's never unilateral, it's always a bilateral agreement. It's beneficial to both countries. So when you were suggesting that that will never happen, don't say never, because everything is about economics. It's not how you view the world. Everything that we look at, even in politics, the policies that are often implemented worldwide are due to economics. Many people are suggesting even the war that the United States is launching against Venezuela is due to economics, the control of the resources in the region, not only in Venezuela, but in the region. Now, we understand also during the administration of Dr. Andrew Holness, his first two terms, and prior to his also coming to office, both political parties have been vouching, have been trying desperately to transition Jamaica into a Republican status. Now, I have been arguing a long time ago that we need much more than a Republican status. We need to be a sovereign state. And by sovereign state, I mean that we should be independent economically, politically, and in all facets of our society, all facets of our lives. I don't think that, based on history, that Great Britain is the runner or the leader or the influencer of Jamaica. I don't think that Great Britain has much to do with how we do things. Ceremonially, yes, okay, because the Governor General is on paper the head of state. Ceremoniously, he is, okay? But the fact of the matter is that the United States is the one that is our colonizer. When Britain lost its empire after World War II, the United States filled that vacuum. And we must understand that we have to go back to reading our history. We can't just remain static and think that history does not evolve. And many of us in the Caribbean think that we are still connected to Britain. Culturally, we are. Economically, we are not. And I want you to understand, culturally, Jamaica, Trinidad, and all of these former British colonies are more connected to Great Britain than to America. But now we're even becoming Americanized, right? We're fast becoming Americanized. Even our English is becoming Americanized. And what we eat, what we celebrate. I see people down there, arguing which Kentucky Fried Chicken is the most, does Trinidad most enjoyable, the most tasty, the tastiest, if you will, right? The most delicious. And they're arguing, and it's a big thing on social media. And I find that to be interesting. Fast food. And Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaicans are, in competition about which is the tastiest. What is a KFC? But American sort of, food, fast food that is not even healthy for the body. Okay, but that is what we're down there childishly thinking that Jamaica has the best or the Trinidadians have the best Kentucky Fried Chicken. So that is to show you rather how culturally we are hypnotized by US culture. Okay, so US is even now making its full impact on Jamaican and Caribbean culture, what we call the Anglo culture, or formerly British cultures. And it's not only for Great Britain and its former colonies, but the Spanish or former Spanish colonies, also Dutch colonies. We can see that the United States is leaving her indelible mark Very important that we begin to understand that. Now, in light of that, we are looking, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica, for the first 2 terms, created this office about the office. I don't know if is it the first 2 terms or the last, the second term, I should say, in Andrew Holness's leadership administration. He created a ministry of constitutional and legal affairs, something of the sort that Marlene Malafou Ford presided over, and they were really lobbying for Jamaica to become a republic. It doesn't seem like that has worked, and now he has made that office defunct and has transferred that office back to where it belongs, the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, something of the sort that Delroy Chuck is presiding over. Now, I think that Andrew Holness, in his 3rd consecutive term in office, is going to push for Republican status. That is something that is going to give the JLP some amount of momentum also. So whether Jamaicans want it or not, whether it's through referendum or it is through, a vote in Parliament, it is going to be done. I think that is where they're moving to. Now, the Republican status is also going to see us moving towards ID, this digital ID. And they're telling us that we're going to become a republic. At the same time, we are going to be controlled. We're going to be a controlled republic because we're going to have the surveillance state, the digital ID. I saw on the Marcia Week show recently, was it last week, in which she presented a story, a segment of her show on what is happening in Guyana and the fact that after the elections in Guyana, that President Irfan Ali is actually trying to implement the national ID. The United States also has and is working on implementing a real ID. So we can see that globally, our ministers of government or governments are working to ensure that we are tracked and we are traced and we are surveilled. Nothing that you do and know where you go will they not know what you're doing and what you are about. But they are softening that sort of surveillance state into calling it a full republic. So it's great to hear them talking about Republican status because it sounds nice. And Jamaicans love nice sounding words. They don't know what they mean, but they sound good to the human ear. And they don't understand the agenda behind the nice words, but they're nice words. So why not embrace them? And this is what I am talking about. And this is what, I try to be patient as much as possible in educating you, in enlightening your minds that the world is moving into a tyrannical form of government. Okay? But they have to show you, they have to hoodwink you into believing that we are going to be free and that we have evolved into Republican status without an economy that we are not even in control of or over. Jamaica has no control of the economy over which it presides. We know the IMF is an IMF-run economy. We don't even know how they compute their numbers, how they've arrived at their 62.4 reduction of GDP, but yet we're free. And Andrew Holness is the best prime minister since sliced bread, is the best prime minister, and he is going to move Jamaica into victory, into a victorious state. He is going to ensure that we become a prosperous state. And you have numerous videos online that waste your time, waste your intellectual acuity and energy, and you watch them. And sad to say, I hardly watch any Jamaican podcast because they're not saying anything. It's all amount of propaganda and not helping you to understand the reality, the days in which we live, the dangerous times in which we live. Okay? But I think Andrew Holness, having said that, is going to work diligently, aggressively in accomplishing the grand feat of achieving Republican status, whatever that means to you. I know that that is not going to be good for Jamaica because it is going to be the opening of the surveillance state. All right, that is what they're doing. But they can't tell you that it's a surveillance state that they're working towards. They have to tell you that they want to make you, they want to transform you, they want to transition you into a republic. That is what they do. And how creative, how ingenious of them to do that. Okay, but you have to be aware, and you must look behind agendas. You must look behind what they have for the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. And you are going to understand that it is much more than you think that they are doing. Okay, and they pad up these and they groom, they place in wonderful garments, beautiful garments, their very nefarious agendas. And that is what you have to understand. Okay? Now, I think also that maybe to soften up the fact that we are a republic and we should push towards Republican status, that Great Britain might just remove the visa status. And of course, to help them to get more bilateral agreements, business agreements with Jamaica, because Great Britain is not doing well right now. Great Britain is not doing well economically. And I'm happy that many Jamaicans who live in Great Britain, they pushed back against the video I had made and said that, we don't think it's the right time for Jamaicans to come here because our economy, it's not the same. It's not the way it used to be. And in recent times, Great Britain is deciding whether or not they should ink out an agreement with the International Monetary Fund. And we know what the International Monetary Fund is about. It's about contracting, ensuring that the benefits that the state provided will no longer be. Okay, that cushions the benefits that cushion the society, the welfare state, if you will. Okay, all of that will crumble or will be weakened, will be severely weakened under any agreement by the International Monetary Fund, because they're not concerned about your social, what do you call it now, buffers and your social programs. They are not concerned about that. And when are we going to understand that that is what it is? And it will celebrate them. Oh, the debt has gone down, and then we are going to move into prosperity. Right? So I think that Great Britain might just to ensure, because Jamaicans are not convinced about this Republican status, they're not convinced about the digital IDs, and they might just to cushion and to deceive us, to hoodwink us, to bamboozle us, they might just decide that they're going to remove the visa restrictions that they have placed on Jamaicans in 2003, I think, thereabout. Okay, so what do you think? I am thinking that Andrew Holness is going to accomplish, he's going to accomplish that great feat of moving us, transitioning Jamaica into a republic, which many Jamaicans are desirous of because they believe more in name and not in substance. And then eventually, or prior to that, prior to achieving the Republican status, it is a great possibility. It is a great possibility that Andrew Holness is going to work with the British High Commissioner and the British government, because their agenda is one, to remove visa restrictions. And Jamaicans are going to be very elated. No matter what you say about, I don't care, and we're free, and let's stand at yard and develop. Yeah. But I can tell you that yard will get very difficult very soon. When the global realities hit Jamaica, and Jamaicans understand that Dr. Andrew Michael Holness is not in charge, they are going to be in for a very, very hard and great surprise. Because you're going to see that what you're seeing there is not necessarily what is. Okay? So that is my video for today. I think, and what do you think, most importantly? Do you think that we are going to achieve the Republican status and the visa restrictions will be lifted? under Andrew Holness's regime. I think he did allude to it briefly in his inauguration speech, that the whole matter of the Republican status. He didn't say much, but he moved forward, I think, when he spoke briefly about the whole matter of the Ministry of Constitutional and Legal Affairs. But I think that we need to be aware of these matters and we need to be vigilant. Okay? And that is where I will end. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe. Like the videos so the videos can be shared with as many people on the platform. And remember now that you can also make your financial contributions, and I will leave that my Cash App in the description for you to make any monetary contributions to this channel for the existence and for the survival of independent journalism. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in another video. Ciao.